you about me as a student and how I've improved this year in NGP. The first couple of weeks and months was really a struggle for me. The grading was completely foreign to me. Like Nick said before, I didn't even know what reasoning was. And in middle school, I had always gotten good grades based off my memory. You know, you'd always have to memorize facts, but you never really have to learn things. And I've learned a lot of new things this year, and I really feel like I have a much more understanding of knowledge and of learning. And so in the skills, writing, reasoning, creativity, reading, listening, speaking, and organization, the skill that I've definitely most struggled with this year is writing, and I especially struggled with grammar and proofreading. I'd always been able to throw like millions of ideas on paper, but I'd never really been able to organize them in my paper to say what I wanted to, and that was a huge struggle for me. And I remember for our chair project we had to write a reflection, and I got a D on that, and that was probably the worst grade I've ever gotten in my life, and I was completely depressed, and it caused my midterm grade to be a C-, and I was totally bummed. And so I went to talk to Miss Martin, my NGP coach, about it, and she really talked to me about the things I need to improve upon, and she told me that I just needed to focus more on the things that I was doing not so well, and then kind of put aside things that I was doing well, and in the end it would all come together and make a much better piece. And that helped me so much. And on the interest paper packet for when we were first picking our mastery subjects, I got an A+ because I definitely worked hard, and I looked at the rubric and I looked at every single skill that we needed to include in our paper, and I made sure that I tried my best on every single skill, and I definitely feel that I have improved on proofreading, so that is one thing. And the skill that I feel I have improved most upon this year is listening and speaking. And at the beginning of the year I was a really flustered person, and I would come up here and I would just blurt out as much as I could, and I'd say it so quickly, and I'd say and like in every single sentence. And I was definitely not good at listening and speaking. And so I got a B+ on our first cholera presentation, and that wasn't a bad grade, but I was so nervous when I came up to do my presentations, and I was so flustered that it caused me so many like personal problems, I guess you could say. And so that skill was definitely probably one of my worst. And I had a talk with Mr. Green when we were preparing for a seminar, and he sat me down and asked me what I really needed to improve on, and I told him that it was using filler words. And I would come up and I would say like or in almost every single sentence. And so we had probably a 20-minute conversation, and every time I would say like or he would just give me this look, and I would realize. And I worked on that, and I worked on it at home, and I worked on it with him. And in the next seminar, I don't think I said like or once. And I'm coming up here and I'm probably saying like or a few times, but it's definitely helped me. And being able to talk slower and all these things have made me a much better public speaker. And it's actually helped me not only in coming up with presentations, but I always had trouble talking with teachers, like one-on-one. And so when I got my Spanish recommendation for next year, I wasn't really happy with it. And usually I would just sit in the corner and just be okay, I have to be fine with this because I don't know how to talk to my teacher. And it helped me because I was actually able to go to him and tell him my problems. And so that definitely helped me a lot. In reading, I struggled with active reading notes, and for one of the projects in the climate change experiment that we did, we had to make reading notes, and I got an F. I believe I got an 8 out of 20, and that was actually the worst grade I've ever received. And again, I was completely depressed, and I worked on it a lot, and I found that they helped me so much. And when I really tried to sit down and work on reading notes and just sit there and work for an hour and concentrate, I would get such a better grade. And so overall, I like to say that as a student, I feel much more confident, and I feel like over this year I have started to care a lot more about where I was. I just got through middle school and elementary school with a good memory, but I've learned a lot and I've gained confidence, and I think that's helped me so much because my grades have not only improved, but I feel stronger as a student. Sydney. Oh, questions?
So this is about mastery. Why did you end up choosing eating disorders as your mastery topic?
Well, part of the reason is because a girl in my old school that I was really good friends with, she had an eating disorder, and we got really scared for her, so we kind of started to research it a little bit. But I never really learned a lot about eating disorders, and I wanted to learn more, and that's always something I wanted to learn more about. You hear so much in the news about it, but I never really understood the science of it and things like that.
And what experience this year really do you think helped you grow as a student?
I believe the thing with Mr. Green helped me the most when he sat me down and just worked with me for 20 minutes just on my listening and speaking. It made me realize that there's people here that do care about you and want to help you grow as a student, and being in a area and setting like that, it makes me much more comfortable and confident.
Hi, my name is Nick Morrow, and this year I was a student in the NGP. We were graded on 5 skills this year, and those included listening, speaking, creativity and reasoning, writing, organization, and reading. This year was kind of rough for me, not only because I was new to private school, but because public school was so easy. The private schools require a lot more of you to step up to the action and really put your best foot forward, like Eric said. And since it was not only private school but the NGP, it made things even tougher for me. Being used to slacking in public school and being able to get away with B's, coming to the NGP and really being tested rigorously with how I reacted to skills, it was really hard for me. So it made the first term for me really challenging. We were all taught a completely new style of learning, and like I said, a new style of learning is hard to get used to, and it's not something that's easy to adapt to quickly after being taught for 8 years, like the classic curriculum, here's what you're getting, do it, it gets graded kind of thing. And so what I really had trouble with was writing. Personally, I've never been a good writer. Even in public school, I didn't get good grades with writing, and coming to the NGP, their whole new style of grading my writing, being able to reason out my quotes, and understanding why I put certain things into my papers. I was never able to be like, oh, well, that's why I put that in the paper, because I didn't even think about it. I was just put words on paper. I had to learn how to understand how to write in the NGP, and this became really relevant to me after writing about the phosphates in the river, which was basically my first graded writing piece for the NGP. And I remember getting a D- or a D on it, which was really, really shocking for me because a D isn't a good grade, so I felt really dumb. And I went back and talked to Miss Martin on why I got such a low grade, and I found out. And then this is a little quote from it, which was, actually no, I'll read the quote from the inquiry paper to show how much I've grown as a writer. I represent a drug-free world, and we are a non-profit NPO that supports the end of drug abuse with teens. We focus on the community and help through friends and family to end drug abuse with teens through America. That was just a little quote, but at the beginning of the year, I used to write things like, oh, actually, this is my chair paper. Oh, that's really embarrassing. Okay, so I'm going to read from my chair paper. My design is based off Japanese simplicity. My partner and I use simplicity to enhance the appeal of our chair. The simplicity also helps to enhance the ability and function of the chair design. And I feel it's a lot blander than what I was able to write at the end of the year. So another thing that I really challenged with and struggled with this year was reading notes. Before we had never come to learn reading notes, so it was a really new thing for me. After rigorous hours of talking to my dad and like getting yelled at by my dad because my reading notes were so bad, I ended up learning, like through a painful way, but I ended up learning how to do reading notes correctly through talking to Mitch and my dad, and I eventually I understood how to take reading notes correctly. My science master notes I got 100 on, which really showed me how much I've grown since my Siddhartha notes, which I did horrible on. When it came to listening and speaking, verbal tics were really challenging for me. I'm sure I'm doing them right now because I still never even got over it. It's been a challenge for me my whole life.
Oh, don't be afraid to approach your teachers if you need help. They're not that scary.
Mitch may seem crazy, but listen to what he says. Some of it actually makes sense.
Intimidated in the fall because a lot of people are coming from the same place you are and might not have as much of a clue as anyone else.
Don't freak out about small little things, just take it one step at a time.
You can always talk to upperclassmen about how the NGP was for them, so they definitely related to like some of the troubles that you had during the NGP.
For incoming freshmen, it's important to keep all of your work.
If I would give you any words of wisdom, is that even though it's very difficult, is to try to make connections from what you're being taught in class to your personal life, because it'll help you really to do well and to get better grades. Don't wait till mastery to find something that you're passionate about and to do well in class and get a good grade. Even if it's just a little project that you're doing in class, try to see if it relates to your life, and you'll do better with that.